All right, I think we are live now. Hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon to all the viewers who are watching us live on our Facebook platform today. I'm really honored and thankful to welcome everybody who has joined us in. This is one of a very unique opportunity for the students who are seeking a chance, who are waiting for a chance to study in Germany. If you have followed our Facebook page, if you are following us on our digital media platforms, you must have seen a digital poster which talks about Germany, is it really a trendsetter? Germany, a trendsetter for international education. One of a country which follows the right route, which follows a proper approach when it comes to providing education for the students is Germany. But do they come across as that? Do they present themselves in the limelight? If I talk about the continent of Europe, if I talk about the global platform, Germany has always been as one of the top 3 destinations to live in. Germany has always been one of the top countries when it comes to the economic standards. Germany has always been one of the top country for living standards. And in last few years, the introduction of private universities, the introduction of state accredited universities, the introduction of universities in Germany as study centers, which are from UK or any other country like USA, has really brought in a revolution. And to make sure that the students who aspire to study in Germany, to make sure the students who want to live a dream of education in Germany are made aware of the current situation. COVID-19 has brought in a lot of changes. COVID-19 has impacted us in a bad way. But I would like to share with all our viewers that Germany is still there. I would like to share with all our viewers, your finances are safe. Your dream is safe. To make you aware of that, today I'm not going to talk myself as an agency. I have brought in 5 top universities of Germany, which needs no introduction. Today, I would like to welcome our panelists, our eminent panelists who are experienced and hold expertise of international education, specifically in Germany. So not taking much time of the students, number one, I would like to welcome Gitanjali Rana, who is the Associate Director for Ardent University in Germany. I would like to welcome Mr. Rishi Kumar, who is the Director and Head of International Recruitment for Ardent University. I would like to welcome Mr. Tegun Kaplan, who is International Student Recruitment Team Lead for International School of Management. They have 6 campuses in Germany, right? Then I would like to introduce Mr. Prasham, who is a Senior Business Development Manager for Recruitment and Partnerships. He's based out in Mumbai. He's joining us live through his digital media platform right now in Mumbai. And I would also like to welcome Mr. Suraj Rana, who is the Associate Director for Jisma Business School that recently acquired a position as a state accredited university as well. So I'm really honored and I'm really thankful to welcome all our panelists and to support them to add value to their pointers and to add value to your questions as a student, as a viewer. I've also been joined by Mr. Gurpreet Singh, who's a zonal head for Pyramid E-Services. He heads the sales wing and the recruitment wing on behalf of Pyramid E-Services for the students. I hope everybody is safe and sound. I hope everybody is well with their families. I would like to welcome all the panelists on our platform. But before going ahead, one of a very prominent name, which I kept as a special welcome, an ally who is in the industry from a long time, an ally who is well versed with the Indian mentality and who is well versed with the education system of Germany. I would like to welcome Mr. Sanjeev Singh, who is the regional manager for BSBI, that is Berlin School of Business and Innovation, that also carries a great value in the heart of students when it comes to the financial support that we get. So just jumping to the queries that I have in the mind, thank you so much to all the panelists who are joining us right now from India as well as Germany today. Mr. Rishi and Mr. Tegun are both joining us live from Germany today. So the first question that I have in my mind that a lot of students ask us, a lot of students raise as a query is, how is the situation in Germany right now? How is COVID-19 impacting the country? What are the steps taken by the country, not just for the citizens, but also for the international students? So just to start off, I would like to ask Mr. Rishi if he can share his viewpoint as he's based in Germany. So can you please, give your inputs to our viewers, sir?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Deep. Hi, everyone. So yeah, so I'm based in Berlin myself. I'm actually in campus. So look, the thing is, in Germany, yeah, there were some issues recently, but look, at the end of the day, everything's open since last week. If you can show a negative test, you can pretty much go anywhere you need to. And it's a very open society. Obviously, travel, I think students are still allowed to come to Germany. I think even from India as well. So it's a very, very open society. Things are getting better. People are getting vaccinated, and look, it's a country that has, was one of the initial leaders in pioneering kind of the COVID-19 management strategy. It lost its way a little bit, and now, look, it's back. Early is what I think. For now, it's back on top. And look, I think for students, it's quite clear. It's still a very attractive international destination. We are still seeing a lot of students willing to apply to Germany, and look, I think it's just a matter of time before things come under control. I know we said the same thing probably at this time last year, but I think this year we're definitely seeing, people getting vaccinated, things moving forward in the right direction. And at the end of the day, we are still, classes are allowed to start within the next 3 weeks. I think in middle of June, students can come back to classes, and we are excited to welcome back all our students in Germany. And we are excited to have our next intake. Our one intake just finished in June, which we did phenomenally well, and we're looking forward to the next one in September. So it's exciting times for all of us, and we really look forward to welcoming everyone.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Mr. Rishi, to share that with us. Taegun, what do you say? What are your thoughts about the situation, as Rishi is based out in Berlin, and I believe ISM has it, like I said, 6 campuses in Frankfurt and few other locations like Dortmund and Cologne. So how do you see the situation of Germany right now?
Thank you, Mandeep. First of all, also warm greetings from the capital Berlin, from Germany, to everyone in India. Thank you for having me today. Thank you for organizing this wonderful session. And I have to correct you, we do have like 7 campuses in the 7 biggest cities all over Germany, like Dortmund, Berlin, Munich, Frankfurt, Cologne, Stuttgart, and Hamburg. And to your question, situation in Germany, the challenges. So I totally agree with Rishi, of course. Everything what he says is correct, and I'm very confident, like for the next intake in September, October, like it will be back to normality as well. Like I think most of the universities as well as ISM will still offer like hybrid classes for September intake. So this means, I don't know, if they come on campus, but suddenly they have to stay at home in Germany or back, whatever happens, they just follow online, like very flexible, very easily, so they won't miss any classes. But actually, I have to say, from last week on, we have already students on campus again. So they're back on campus, back in the university. We are currently, of course, following the governmental rules, like keeping the distance of 1.5 meters, wearing the face mask. But again, in September, I don't think it will be like that. As Richie said, we're back to normality kind of in Berlin. It's like, we call it the partial lockdown. And like the restaurants are open and you need a negative test. It's you can sit outside, you can meet with other people. And I think in Berlin, the date of 18th of June will be the like more openings. Like I think from that on, we can sit even inside the restaurants. We're getting more and more vaccinations. I think half of the German population is already vaccinated. Like it's 82 million, so 40 million are vaccinated already. It was just in the news today. So I'm very, very confident. And I think what have to be in the mindset of the students from India or even of the parents, that we have to rebuild the trust of the safety of traveling and living abroad. But I can say to them and to all of you, your kid is safe in Germany. I think nowhere in the world it would be safer than in Germany. And if something would be there, we would be there as a university helping them to find the best way. But seriously, I like September, October, we will be super safe.
That's great. That's great to know from you and Rishi about the current situation in Germany. And like you said, Germany being the safest country at the moment and has been for a long time, pre-COVID as well. And also the vaccination drives being conducted in Germany is really good to know. But if I talk about the mindset of a student in India, so Sanjeevji, you are doing this from a long time, and you are well connected with the students in India. So what are your thoughts? Like how do you see a student reacting to the situation of Germany? Can you share your thoughts on that?
Amandeep ji, firstly, thanks for having me here. In fact, I welcome each one of the delegates, in fact, my colleagues from other schools. See, unlike many other destinations, geographical destinations, German has basically a national character. When I say a national character means this is probably one of those educational offerings which has acceptance across the board, across the length and the breadth of the country. Number one.
Right.
Number two, the students are very well connected with the relatives, friends, and let's say the other fellow students from the country, which means they are more updated sometimes even than you or me as compared to. So they've been, let's say, following up each and everything. In fact, it was until the last month, the things were kind of a normal. In fact, the UG appointments, which also got opened up in month of January. So things were like getting streamlined. I believe it's just a temporary phase, which everyone understands. And even if there is a dud, is again a temporary nature too. Should be restored maximum by the mid of June is what I expect.
Right. Perfect. That's very positive to know. Like, Tycoon, Rishi, and you are also on the same page that it's expected to get better soon in the mid of this year, and the students can, aspire for the education like they were before COVID for Germany. Moving ahead to Mr. Gurpreet, who works with Pyramid E-Services. Gurpreet ji, as a sales representative, as a sales head, directly communicating with the students regularly. So how much can you relate with the pointers mentioned by our respective delegates? Do you see the same approach? Do you see there is still a negativity or a different mindset in the students about Germany?
Yeah, thanks, Aman. Hi, everyone. Good to see you guys. I think what I've heard the conversation about from it's more, it's a complete set of a student. But at the moment, right now, we meet across students and what we understand, their level of understanding about Germany is that like it's closed down, not from the perspective that they don't want to welcome Indian students, but it's only because the factors are not, in the conducive mode.
Right.
Even if we talk about a couple of months back, things were moving very smoothly. We were getting appointments, files were being prepared, and students were getting, the proper appointment and being, counseled as well. And they were ready to get to go as well. Things got stuck when we got this, the pandemic back in India. This is where things got stuck. At the moment, this is a very temporary phase, and it will definitely go off in a month or so, and probably we'll be back on track in a month's time. And I think, I believe the entire audience who is listening to us right now, and they would agree with us. And this is a time when we need to go back to students, hold their hand, I would say, like a doctor, like a lawyer, and make them understand this is a situation to be in, and we have to get through this situation. But kindly hold your horses, be a little patient, and things will move on. This is what I believe, Aman. I think I agree with all the panelists right now.
Perfect. Very well said, Gurpreet. And like you mentioned, that the impact started once the things got a little different or difficult in India. So Germany has been on a recovery track and is already on that, and it's hopeful that things will get 100% better in Germany very soon. So moving ahead, I have a list of questions which I received from my colleagues in our sales office, our counselors, and also the students. So I'll quickly jump to my second question that I have in my mind is one of the worrying issue, say it during COVID or before COVID, has been the appointments. I would say, like Sanjeevji touched a bit about that, I would say that, postgraduate program appointments are still, a little beneficial. I would say still available, but it's really tough to get an appointment for undergraduate programs for the students who have passed out their 12th standard. So I would request Gitanjali ji if she can, talk about this aspect, because, the students always get a concern in their mind. Okay, the university is very supportive, but what about my appointment? So Gitanjali, would you like to share your thought on this?
Yeah, hi, Aman. It's true that UG students have been suffering, I would say. Students have a lot of queries about, when will UG appointments open? Yes, they did open in Jan-Feb. There were a lot of appointments that were given out. Students did submit their applications. We have to understand this, that Germany or the German government or the embassy is not stopping. The thing is, there are lockdowns. Sometimes, like there was a lockdown in Bombay, then there was a lockdown in Delhi. Now again, the lockdown has been extended. So the embassy and the VFS office have to comply with the rules and regulation of the area that they are in. So if
Right.
the city or the state is saying that you cannot open an office, how are they going to accept visa files? How are they going to give out appointments when the government of that state or city is not allowing the offices to open? Once the
Right.
situation improves, once the offices are open, once things are a little normal, obviously the embassy and the VFS office is going to give out appointments. For them, yes, the priority was PG appointments first. I don't know the logic why, but I think they also want their people to come back to office. The VFS office also needs to function with 100% of the people before they open out everything. They have to prioritize who they accept first. If I, as an organization, I only have 10 people working, I cannot work 100% as I was pre-COVID. So students here have to understand that it's not just them suffering, it's everybody around. And if the government has taken that decision that offices cannot open or they can open only with 20% staff, that applies to the embassy and the VFS office as well. So if the
Right.
VFS office is functioning with 20% people, that means the number of appointments will go down. So we
Right.
all have to have that faith and we all have to wait. Once things are normal, maybe by mid of June or July, I hope everything will be open, and I'm sure that September is going to be back to normal. We will see students in class. We will see all UG students are able to get their appointments and kind of fly to Germany or submit their visa files. So it's all about patience right now.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much. You said it, you used the right word. That is the patience. That patience is the key right now. Students need to be really patient about their aspirations, and definitely things are going to get better in coming months and they can, reapply. But Gitanjali ji, as you know that once the students who had already applied for their appointment, who had got their appointment, but because of the pandemic, second wave, and then students getting their appointments cancelled were a bit demotivated. So what would you like to say to those students?
You should not lose your heart. And I believe that the embassy and the VFS understands the situation. And students whose appointments have been cancelled,
Right.
I believe they are going to get priority appointments, or they will be asked to submit their files first before opening it to students who didn't have an appointment so far. I believe, and what my sources tell me from VFS is students whose appointments were cancelled will be given priority once things open. So you should not worry that, oh, I missed my
Oh, that's
appointment
great.
date. Now I cannot put my file in. No, you will be able to.
That's great. That's a very important point. So all the viewers who are watching us live right now, so if in case your appointment was cancelled, you need not to worry. Your case would be given a priority by the VFS office, and you will be treated as a priority case because you already had an appointment. So thank you so much, Gitanjali, for adding your inputs to it. So yes, Gurpreet ji, would you like to share something?
Yeah, I have something to add on, to check with Gitanjali about this. Like the students those who are doing online classes right now, will they get priority on that as well?
To be very honest, Gurpreet, as a university, I do not have a communication from embassy about it that, oh, you have started online, you will be a priority student. No, there is no communication like that. If you had an appointment, if you had paid for it, or you had a VFS appointment in place or a pickup in place, then obviously embassy is going to give you a priority because you had a kind of a fixed thing with the embassy. But starting online, on papers, in written is not there that oh, you are an online student, you will get a priority appointment. The word priority is not there.
Right. Right. Thank you. Thank you for the question, Gurpreet ji, and thank you, Gitanjali, for answering that point with very honesty. I'll jump to Mr. Suraj about the same pointer. You're based out in India. You connect with students regularly since the before the pandemic, like I said, and during the pandemic. So, what is your thought? Like Gitanjali mentioned, do you see the things the same way, or do you have a different mindset or a different approach? Do you suggest to students to carry a different approach about this? What do you say on that?
Hi, everybody. Well, I completely agree with Gitanjali. Students need to be patient. Everybody needs to be patient, not just the students, their parents. Even we are being very patient because we need to understand that as a people, Indians are very resilient. We have been through so much over the past few years. We have gone through so many things, like over the last 10 years only, we have had depressions and economic depressions, financial crisis, everything. We have gone through everything, and we have come out stronger. Last year, there were lockdowns, everything was shut for a couple of months, but when it opened with a bang. We saw how much work was being done, everything was moving smoothly. Now the second wave has hit, and we again need to be very patient and be positive about the future. I believe, as Gitanjali said, I have the same information that anyone whose appointment was cancelled will get a priority, and VFS will contact them first to allocate the new slots to them first, so that they are able to submit their files. Of course, they had paid their VFS fees and other things before at the time of booking their appointment. So of course, it's their legal liability or of the embassy and VFS people to allow those students to submit their files first before appointments are issued to anybody else. And we are seeing for example, for Delhi, the positivity rate has gone down. It's below 2% now, and which is a very good news. And the lockdown was until 31st of May, and we are hoping that it won't get extended, and students will therefore be able to travel and submit their files at VFS, and hopefully with the embassy by mid of June.
Perfect. So I can catch a common point between all of you while I'm communicating with you, that you all have said that you're expecting things to get better by the mid of June. Like in the mid of year, you're expecting things to get on track. So that's a very good sign that we are getting that common communication from all of you. So all the viewers who are watching us live right now, and the members who are on the Zoom platform with us, I can see on my second screen there are a couple of queries from the students. I would request you to be patient for a while. We'll have your queries answered as well. Moving ahead, I have Mr. Prasham, who works at University of Europe of Applied Sciences. So Prasham, I would deviate from a little from the COVID-19 situation and get to the real I would say concern, or probably a point of concern in the students. Whenever we meet up with students, or Mr. Gurpreet meets up with students, there's always a communication of free of cost education in Germany. If I'm not wrong, 2014 was the time around 16 provinces in Germany had announced that the state universities, the publicly funded universities, would have free of cost education for the students from Germany or international students. But there has been a lot of confusion. People say it's true, it's not true. You have to go for a year for an English German language program, stuff like that. So is it a rumor, or is it a reality? So Prasham, would you like to share your thoughts on that with the viewers?
Sure. Aman, frankly speaking, the free education system, it's actually, there is a cost involved, which is technically an admin fee, which is next to nothing. Normally that admin fee would be anywhere from 150 to 200 euros, or even 500 euros maximum, depending upon the institute, depending upon the public institute, and where they are based out at in Germany. So that's there. But this concept is available to public universities, not to private universities. But then again, with public universities, they follow a different admission structure. They have a different admission criteria. And a lot of times we see that many programs that they have to offer, right, are available in German. For example, I come across many students who want to do science and engineering topics. We ourselves offer student colleague for science and engineering students. But, okay, thanks.
Sorry, there was a hindrance. My apologies.
Yeah. And I'm really sorry for the background noise as well. There's some construction work going on in the neighborhood. So, all right. So anyways, yeah, so technically, yeah, a lot of students want to do science and engineering. We offer student colleague as well for science and engineering, which is technically our foundation here. But we offer it in German. I come across questions like, see, sir, why do you offer it in German? Why not in English? And the only answer that I end up giving them is like, see, the public universities, majority of them, they don't offer science and engineering in English at all. So yeah, the concept of the language requirement, it is there. I would not deny it, it is there. But then the free education system also does exist. However, there are certain guidelines to it that the students need to follow, and it is not readily available. They need to go to the right place to get that information, which makes it very difficult at times, because many a times students are like referrals. Like, okay, he got it, he told me this, I tried it, but I failed. Okay, this doesn't exist anymore for me. It's like that.
Right.
And then there are some who spread misconception about it, and which makes things a lot of confusing as well for the students. And, you know, which changes the entire concept altogether. And it becomes difficult for a student, and then they decide, like, what should I do now? Should I just chuck Germany out of my list? Yeah, why don't I do that? I'll choose some other option. But then again, Germany has a lot to offer. May that be public universities or private universities like us. We have a lot to offer to the students. It's just upon the students to take that one little step and see what, not even see, just ask one simple question. One simple question, and that's it. We are there to help them.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much for the insight given from your end, and how genuinely things are when it comes to the free of cost education in Germany. Before I jump to the next question, which is in relation to the query that I just asked, I would really like to take your viewpoint on this, Taigun. Because when it comes to, like Prasham has mentioned about the admissibility criteria as well, like there are a lot of policies. I would say there is a lot of different concepts, or I would say different rules and regulations you got to follow when it comes to free of cost education. Is it so? Do you have a different opinion on this? Because how we see it in India is that the student need to be a very bright student, let's say 90%, 95% scorer to acquire that opportunity. Because why would a public university of Germany give free of cost education to somebody who's not from the country, right? So what is your viewpoint on this?
So first of all, I totally agree with Prasham, what he said. It's all correct there. So I think the question of free education in Germany, myth or a reality, it's something in between, I think. Free education, it's not free education. Public universities will charge, what Prasham said, maximum like 1,000 euro per year, but then you have to see how to access there. Usually a high GPA is required, first of all. As Prasham said, most of the programs are like German taught programs. So if you don't know German, like it's minimum, usually between B2 and C1 level. That's a very hard level to achieve. So that's another thing. And then, yes, foundation year would be definitely required for public universities, the so-called Studienkolleg. And at ISM, I think also at other universities, I'm not sure about the participants today, but at ISM, no foundation is required. So if you get the trust class standard from India, you can directly jump into the bachelor programs with internal university tests. And also the GPA is it's not important anymore because we have our own internal tests. And for the German public universities, usually if it's an English program, you need, again, like Ielts, something like that. At ISM and other private universities, there's no English language proof required. We accept the MOI from the high schools, from the universities. So that's another advantage. So there are like clear advantages. I mean, yes, public universities 1,000 euro per year, but then again, if you think you have to finance your 1 year foundation year with the living cost, you're already at 20,000 euro again. And then instead of that, you could directly jump into your bachelor and invest in private universities. And here as well, I think there will be also a question about the benefits as well later. So yeah, that's the point of thing. Other than that, I'm totally agreeing with Prasham.
Perfect. It's great to see that there is an agreement on most of the pointers when I talk to my panelists. So I would just ask about two questions which are in relation to this concept. So when it comes to a state of mind as an Indian student, once I was also a student, you guys were also a student, and the viewers who are watching us, either the parents or the child who are having aspirations of education in Germany, they are always scared of one thing. They're always worried about one thing, that is the German language, right? When it comes to the public universities education as well, it's about the language. They always are worried, oh, how would I learn it? It's really tough, right? I personally believe that introduction of state accredited universities like you guys has brought in a great revolution in the education system of Germany, bringing the upliftment for the service industry of Germany. So Rishi, I would really like to ask you this, because you have traveled the globe, you have met the students not just from India, but across the globe. So why there is a worry about German language? Why that is acting as a hindrance for the student when they aspire for education in Germany?
Yeah, I mean, thanks, Aman. It's a natural thing to fear. I mean, again, I'm quite close to the student population. I'm in campus pretty much every day. And the number one thing that always comes about when a student is new to Germany is the language. It always ends up being a bit of a barrier.
Yeah.
Look, I think you need to understand that if you look at the top non-English native countries that work and communicate in English, Germany is number 8. It's higher than Singapore, and I'm from Singapore, by the way, and I pretty much did everything in English. Singapore was 10, Germany's 8. I think the top few is Netherlands and the Scandinavian countries. So the point I'm trying to make is, look, English is a very, very openly used language here. I think pretty much everyone speaks English. I did not speak German when I first came to Germany 4 years ago. I speak, well, more German than I did 4 years ago. And yeah, I mean, look, getting around here in English is not difficult. In Germany, you have got, if you look at the statistics as well, I mean, forget about all students, but just if you look at Indian students, if you look at EU Blue Card, students who are not students, but professionals who are getting the EU Blue Card, which generally is the equivalent of the US Green Card, or more or less equivalent, like not permanent residency, but residency for 4 years without the need to work, or where you can pursue your own interest. 28% of EU Blue Cards are issued to Indians. That's the statistic that's provided in the EU reports as well. So I think, look, the point I'm trying to make is, yes, is German language important? I guess it is, yes, to study and learn it here, but it's not compulsory. And students who come here, they learn it automatically. I mean, your passive learning, right? When you're hearing it in the streets, when you are going to the movies, when you're going to order food or something, you will definitely just continue to hear the language. So you passively learn the language. I think the other thing to also consider is obviously the fact that it's an open economy. Very, very open economy. You've got, because of Brexit, a lot of big banks, big businesses are relocating their headquarters to Germany, whether that be Munich, Dortmund, Berlin, whichever city. So essentially what you have is you have a lot more MNCs and banks definitely coming with an English-speaking background, because that's you don't expect JP Morgan to operate in the German language. Let's be open and honest about it. So so definitely the English speaking, kind of that barrier is lowering. If you go look at the jobs today, the jobs today in Berlin or in other cities, a lot of them are saying that English language is advised, English language is not required, but it's advised. And I think it's going to continue towards this trend for the foreseeable future, because companies do need a hub in the European Union, and Germany has the lowest unemployment rate. It has it's just a good place to do business and run a company, and you get good employees as well. And the good thing about it is also students, again, while they have that fear for the first month, 2 months maybe, after that fear goes away, because you're in a new, then you get used to everything. You get used to the bureaucracy, you get used to the way of doing things in Germany, and you just move on from there.
Right, absolutely, and well said. When you spoke about the aspect that students automatically start learning it when they communicate with people around in Germany, but also if they speak in English, they should not be worried. And I can talk from my personal experience. I got the opportunity to travel to Germany. I didn't face any challenge. Right?
Oh, yeah, they can talk to you. Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. They can talk to you in English. Yeah. You can communicate with anybody and everybody. Surajji, you have traveled across to Germany a few times, and if I talk about the communication channel and the hindrance of the language, do you agree with Rishi, or do you still believe that this is one of the issue that needs to be resolved when it comes to the language barrier?
I have been to Germany, and as you just said that you never faced an issue while traveling. Even I never faced any issue. Almost everybody understood, spoke English and pretty well, so there weren't any issues at all. Now, what we need to understand is even as government directions, other than people who are in jobs that require them to interact with the German population on a daily basis, like doctors, nurses, or any other healthcare staff, anyone who interacts with the general German public on a daily basis, they are required to undergo C2 or advanced level German test, language proficiency test. Other than that, it's not a requirement as such anywhere. Most of the jobs, as Rishi said, there are a lot of MNCs coming in. There are so many MNCs already present in Germany, and their language of working is English, because they operate in more countries and not just Germany. So unless you are a front-facing salesman of the company selling your products in Germany, I don't think you'll need German as a mandatory requirement for your job. And while studying, all of our programs are anyways completely taught in English, so you won't face any issues while studying. Plus, we provide free German classes to all our students so that everybody understands basic German. That is a good thing for students to enroll in. Once they have the basic grasp of the language, then it will be easy for them to pick it up while they are still there, while they're working, while they're studying. So they'll keep picking up and they'll keep improving on their base language competency once they are there in Germany.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing your viewpoint on this. And Pyramid E-Services, being a recruitment agency and recruiting students to Germany, has never experienced any constraint when it comes to the language barrier, like you just mentioned. Yes, it is getting better, like Rishi also mentioned. It was there, but now slowly and steadily, the barrier as a thought process is going away. If I talk about the approach of a student, if I talk about the concept which we are talking about as public universities and private universities, Sanjeevji, what would you like to share the difference with our viewers? Like, what are the benefits of applying at private universities like yours? What are the benefits of applying at state accredited universities? And I won't say a lot of cases, but there is a situation where a student says that I should not be applying at a private university. Probably I'll get a visa rejection. So would you like to share your thought process on this question?
Aman, in fact, even before I answer probably this part of the question, I would like to contribute a little on the language part. See, we do agree that Germany has came a lot better in terms of accepting more people into the fold without a German language. But let us understand that Germany being Germany, if you want to prosper and thrive there, let's say if you see as someone, like let's say if you are an employer, if you have a prospective employee, everything remains the same. The chances of one who has a better language probably proficiency will be higher. Secondly, let's say I would like to have employees who not only can work in the bigger cities and metropolis, but in fact in the smaller towns also.
Right.
Adding to it, this is one of the widely spoken languages, not within the country, in fact, across the region. In fact, let's say the northern parts of Switzerland and other places as well. So once you have the language part being added, I believe that adds lots of firepower in you in terms of job hunt. Institutions like the most of ones working with GUS, they have this free German language courses. And sometimes in fact, I'm amazed that thousands of students fly down to Germany paying 6,000 to 9,000 euros only to learn German to get admission into various universities and colleges. When the same is being taught free of cost, why the same level of seriousness is not being attached? So the humble request is, if you want to get a proper job apart from academics, do pay a little attention in your language proficiency as well. This is number one. Number two, coming on to the public university system and let's say the private educational system. See, there was only a public university system. However, a need was felt for courses like management or so, whereas in the classes, let's say if you go to a public university, TU Munich, TU Berlin, TU Hamburg and all, you might come across classes as big as like 400, 500, even 600 students a class. Now, if you are into a science or a technology class, the theory can always be correlated with the practical, but same doesn't happen with the business classes with zero practicals at all. It requires diverse group, it requires lots of discussions, it requires lots of individual presentations and all, which will be humongous if you go by that scale. And that's where it was felt that a need was there to include the private players into the fold. And that's where we stepped in, and we stepped in successfully. I still remember 2017 when I started my job with this German institution, BSBI. Germany was one of the institutions. The first question itself was like, okay, is it a free education? Is it a public university? I believe the hard work or the footwork that has been done by, let's say, the institutions in GUS and outside GUS, I believe they have added lots of value. And in 2020 or 2021, when you go to any of the agents, irrespective of the size, there are a couple of institutions on the stand. I believe that's something very commendable. Now, coming on to the comparison between the public university, it's very perceptive, because whenever I've interacted with the students from my institution and the one from outside, the only thing is that when it comes to the employer, all he wants to is you have basically a recognized degree, number one. Number two,
Yes.
how you carry yourself during the interview, how well you are acquainted with the facts and the fundamentals will lands up into your job, not that you are from a public university or into the private university. Coming on to the visa prospects, to me, I believe that depends completely on the merit of the student. When I say the merit, obviously it's the academic merit and the financial merit as well, to an extent.
Right.
You take out that merit, however good the university, it can be TU Munich also, still the student will flunk on the visa part. You put a very good student, it might be a very new college. We have seen lots of colleges coming up. And in fact, they have a decent number of students when it comes there. I believe Germany practices a policy of no discrimination on every front. And this is one of the classical examples of it.
Right. Thank you so much, Sanjeevji, for explaining it so well, and very rightly said when you said about the need of private universities and institutions was required, and how they have brought in a revolution when it comes to the programs related to the management. These are the burning topics which have been there in the industry from a long time. Free of cost education, German language, is it a barrier or is it a benefit for the student? But the recent changes, COVID-19 has made things more complex. Now another topic which I am sure the viewers and the students who are in the Zoom session with us on this live would like to know is about the language proficiency. So if I talk pre-COVID, right, I as each and every institution and university have their own policy, but before COVID, most of the universities, private universities, were okay with the language proficiency pointed as in a IELTS waiver. Universities or colleges were accepting MOI, that is medium of instruction. If you have above 50% in your English for 12th standard, you are good to go. So, but recently that has also changed a bit. There is a confusion in the students that can I apply with IELTS waiver or can I not? So, Gitanjali ji, would you like to share your thought process on this? Can students still apply without IELTS in Germany?
Yes, they can. And I think it holds true for ISM, it holds true for GISMA, it holds true for BSBI also. We do accept students with MOI. At Arden, what we are doing is students who are applying with MOI, we are taking a personal interview. We need to be sure that the student has the communication, proper communication. We do try and check that when we as an institution, we accept an MOI, we do a little check before the embassy and the visa officer steps in. So when we say that we have tested the student's language, we need to be sure about it. So yes, students, you don't have to worry about an IELTS exam or a PT or TOEFL. You can still apply with an MOI. But Arden, as an institution, we are going to interview you for 5-10 minutes and check for ourselves that this MOI holds true. We do... See, there are students who come up and say, when I'm giving you a paper, it says that I know the language. Why do you want to test it? We want to test it because we are justifying it to the embassy that we have tested you, because we are telling the embassy that we are sure about your language skills. And at the end of the day, you're going to come to our classes. And when you sit in our classes, we want to be 100% sure that you qualify as a student to be there. So that's why the test is there.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Gitanjali. This is another positive point of addition that the viewers who are watching us, you can apply without IELTS. Please don't get into the rumors that Germany has stopped accepting students without IELTS. You can, but there is always going to be an element of interview or a testing which will be justified by the university or the college that you apply at. Gurpreet, I'll quickly jump to you. Before that, I'll just ask a question to Mr. Prasham, because I observed that Gitanjali ji spoke about each of the panelists but did not speak about UE. So Prasham, do you accept students without IELTS?
See, we do accept students without IELTS even now. However, I also do see to it that if the student is submitting, if he's going with us without IELTS, I actually tend to speak with the student these days a lot. Because it came to our notice that many students were actually trying to take advantage of it. And there were some miscreants, in fact, I would say, who did not have the ability to actually speak or even understand English properly. But they wanted to go ahead with it anyway. And this was raised to us by our academics later on. That, right, there are a few who are actually attending classes. We are trying to say something, but they don't understand it all. So when we picked this up, we were like, okay, we have to be a little careful here. Because yes, accepting it, it's of no issues. We can do that. Because at the end of the day, they will be attending classes with us. And we need to ensure that our professors are able to teach them. But then there are a few who actually mess this up. And when they mess this up for the whole batch itself. So it becomes difficult. So I believe even you're aware that in the recent past, I've been a little strict on the communication with the student. So this is the reason why, because I do accept it. However, if there are students who want to go without IELTS, I would rather speak with them at least once to see where they are. Because although we do have our internal tests available for those students, but then again, at the end of the day, it's all about conversational English. Because when they speak with the embassy, conversational English is different, and the kind of test that is conducted is different. So the test would not always record that level of conversational English. But then again, when you're speaking with the student, things change. For example, when you speak with the student over the phone, it is different. When you speak with the student face to face, it is a little different. So keeping those things in mind, I would rather, I've rather started speaking with students lately. I still accept it, but I'm a little strict on that part, just to ensure that, students are aware. If they are weak, I don't say that, don't apply with us. I say, try to work on your English first and then go ahead with it. I'm absolutely fine. But then a lot of students tend to avoid it. I don't know why is this fear. They tend to avoid it. And when they are like, they just don't want to learn. But then they need to understand that once they are in Germany, apart from English language, the only other language people will speak in would be German, unless and until you are in between your own community. So if they aren't good in English at all, it's a difficult task even for me or even for the embassy to actually decide what to do.
Right. Thank you, Prashant. Thank you so much, for adding your thoughts to it. And from what you and Gitanjali ji have said, I believe the rest of the panelists will agree with that. That if IELTS waiver is there, if a student is accepted without IELTS, that doesn't mean that they shouldn't be a good communicator. There can be an interview, there can be a test where they will be observed by the university, and there can be a possibility of not being accepted as a student. So yes. That's a very valuable point added by you. Coming back to the current scenario again, that is COVID-19 and a new concept. I won't say it is a new concept. It was already there in existence, but it became a well-known concept, that is online education, right? Say the problem is there in Germany, or there is a problem in India because of COVID-19. Students had to attend online classes. In 2020, everybody was very new to it. The concepts were not clear. The policy framework was, reframed for the benefit of the students. So how do you see the things now? I'll start with Rishi. Rishi, so how Arden University is planning out the upcoming intakes? Is it going to be online? And if a student attends online classes, what kind of support the university is giving in terms of, because the students, when they come to us, they really want to know the deferral policies, they really want to know the refund policies at the respective institution to apply it.
And you're absolutely right. And I think these are all important details that, look, I think when COVID first hit us in March last year, was a surprise to all of us, but look, we adapted quite quickly. By, I think by July, we already had a new refund policy in place, a new kind of a new way of the new reality, so to speak, in place.
Right.
And look, and the thing about Arden is specialized in online, because apart from their study centers in Berlin and about 5 study centers in the UK, they are also a huge online university, over 1,200, over 2,000 students per year. So it's already, the online platform has already been there. It's already been there. It's already been executed. They have their own online platform called Island, where you have unlimited access to resources. So the online platform is there. So that transition was very easy for us. And of course, the other point you touched on is very important as well, which is the refund policy, because obviously, there will obviously be cases where students, as you mentioned, may not be able to get visa appointments for months on end, and deferral policies as well. So for us, all students have an offer that's valid for a year. So if from the time they get the unconditional offer, that offer is valid for a year. Afterwards, they have to reapply again if they wish to do so. This is normal kind of UK policy. We are, our degree awarding power is a UK university, so it's a very normal element. In terms of the refund policy, look, it's quite clear. We have a clear paper on it, which can be shared to students who wish to see it, or Aman, I think you have it, but if anybody wishes to see it, it's something that's been established by Arden University, which is a 6-month refund policy, which basically means that from the time you start, within 6 months, if you wish to withdraw from the program, you are able to withdraw from the program, and you will be eligible for a refund minus a small admin fee for processing, so on and so forth. Further to that, if after that period, if you do get a visa rejection, again, look, in these cases, in these times, visa rejections, there are some, even though our approval rates are still over 95%, there are some rejections, but we don't want to punish a student for that because it's not their fault. So we will also issue a full refund if a valid visa rejection letter can be produced. So, the goal for us is to be as student-centric as possible, be as student-facing as possible, and that's why we have that big advantage, because I'm in campus, I speak to the students daily, so I understand what the needs and the wants are, and Geeta lets me know as well, and we try to develop a policy around what is important for the student. And again, and I think we have done, and after we introduced the policies, we have seen significant changes. Student satisfaction has gone up dramatically. And, we're keeping these policies for the upcoming intakes in September and November. And in terms of your last point, in terms of campus opening, yeah, look, for us, as what Taigun has mentioned earlier, we are ready to open our campus from mid-June onwards. We have everything in place. I spoke to the head of campus yesterday. He's excited about it. And, we will follow the government regulation. So if the government says you can open your campus, we will do it. Everything is ready for our students to come on board, whether it be in June, July, August, or from there on out.
Perfect. The keyword that you used during your answer was the student-centric policy. I absolutely agree with you that Arden University and also the panelists that are available with us today and representing different universities. The beauty of education in Germany is that as a student, and when I apply for my education, I don't need to pay my full fee. There is a concept of a commitment fee, which I can say in Indian terminology. I pay that, and if there is a situation of a withdrawal or refund or refusal due to the current scenario, that amount is also refunded, deducting a minute administrative charge. So that's a big support that students get when they apply to you guys. I can see a few questions in our chat section, so I'll just quickly jump to our other panelists in the session and ask them about the policies at their respective institutions. So, Taigun, how is the policy framework looking at ISM? How is ISM looking at the next session? Is it going to be online for the students from India? And what are the deferrals and refund policies at the college?
So I totally agree with Rishi with the refund policies. There's like nothing. There's no difference with ISM. And as at the beginning, I said for the next intake, September intake, there will be hybrid classes. So it will be, so the student can choose, whereas if they're in Germany already or not, if they want to start online, the courses or not, it will be streamed online. So even during the semester, if they say, oh, well, I just want to spend 2 weeks at home, they can do so. So we prefer to have them on campus. We already opened up our higher semester, started from last week on coming on campus. We're following the governmental rules. I think in the next, 18th of June, again, it's an important date for Germany, for the German universities. And from that date on, I guess most of the students will come back on campus. At ISM, for the current semesters, we ask our students, hey guys, what do you prefer? Do you want to continue on campus, online studies, or do you want to come back? So it's all up to the students what they prefer. And I think it's good to have this flexibility, open, whatever happens.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving your inputs on this. I'll move to Sanjeevji. Sanjeevji, could you share with us about the policy at BSBI?
Firstly, as probably like my colleague said, October intake, the next intake that we are going to have will be a hybrid one. Whereas in the students who will be making it to Germany from any like other locations, they will be having the on-contact classes, the brick and mortar classes. However, let's say the students who are back, whether in India or any other geographical locations, can start their study online, and whereas then they can fly moment the lockdown is open, or let's say the sanctions are being opened up there. Number one.
Right.
Number two, when it comes to the refund policy, the first humble request which I want to make to the student community through this panel is, every single college takes lots of pain in drafting a student contract. And it is very unfortunate that the refund policy, which is one of the very key and critical things, how it is being ignored. How can you simply sign a document without basically going through the most critical aspect, which is refund? Colleges have drafted very student-centric policies, and the good part is that they have always came back, taken the inputs from the partners and the student community, gone back, revised those contracts and presented to the students. So whether the flexible payments, the part payments, the discounts, very generous discounts, in fact, even to an extent, like let's say, as most of the colleges are doing, in an event of the visa refusal, taking a very minimal 150, 200, 250, for BSBI is 150 only. So we deduct that amount, and all the amount, rest of the amount is just returned back to the student. Even the student might have studied for months. Then let's say there is a student who is not being registered, there is a different policy. However, if the student has studied and studied for some time, there is basically a small amount that student needs to basically commit, and then the rest of amount is being refunded. But again, probably that part should be made very clear, that every single student should refer to this refund policy in black and white, very clear.
That's very important. You know, apart from the policies being discussed right now, and you guys being on this live platform and sharing the actual policies, it's great. But the viewers who are watching us, who are aspiring to study in Germany or have already enrolled, it's very important that you read those documents very carefully, which are provided by the college or the university and shared by us or your agent while you get your documentation processed. Every answer, every question that you have, the answer is in those documents. You will never be in a tough situation if you read them. And as an agency also, we would say, sit with us, we will help you out to read them and understand them. And always ask this question to your agent before you process your fee, before you go ahead with the documentation, that, okay, this is what the college has provided me. Can you please explain? I cannot understand this. So it's very valuable point added by you, Sanjeevji. Thank you so much. And keeping the shortage of time in mind, I'll quickly jump to Surajji. And Surajji, would you like to share the policy framework of JISMA?
Yeah. First, I would like to touch on something, because in India or in student community generally, when we say online classes, they tend to think that it's a recorded session and it's just a number of slides that have been put in a video and the student has to go through it. It is not the case, and I believe that is the case with all the institutes present today. These are live classes. on special platforms. For example, for most of our programs, we use Blackboard Learn as a platform wherein live classes are broadcast to everyone. So a student, for example, can sit in a class like in a live classroom, raise their hands, ask questions to the teachers, professors, get their queries solved just like they do in a regular classroom. It's just the physical classes that have been moved to the to a web platform. It's not online classes, it's still live classes that are moved to an online platform. That is what has been done. That should be very clear. And to make it easier for students who are part of different time zones, for some of the programs, we do repeat classes so that those students can attend. And we also provide the option wherein all these sessions are recorded and somebody wants to go through the entire thing again. Just because they had a poor connection or something else, they were not able to attend, they can still access all of that material on the platform. So that is the kind of flexibility that we are offering to the students so that they don't face any issues. And in terms of the refund policy, again, we also have a very student-centric policy wherein God forbid, let's say the student gets a visa rejection, then the entire tuition fees is refunded minus again a small fee of 150 euros that is deducted as admin charges. And in case a student does not wish to study, let's say he's applied for the September intake, doesn't wish to proceed for whatever personal or any other reasons, then again we will refund the full tuition fee minus a small admin charge. So we are there to support the students. We our only request is that in case there is any change in your plans to apply or proceed with the programs, inform us immediately. Do not wait for it. In case by chance you received a visa refusal, please inform us. Do not sit on it for months on end and then come back to us saying, oh, I received a visa refusal 3 months back. That makes life difficult for us. Of course, we'll still process it. I am there as a personal guarantee for you guys that we are here to support you in everything. But please, our request is please inform us as soon as you can.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing the policy framework at JISMA. And like you mentioned, the students have to make sure that the communication is timely and they don't wait sitting on their couch stating after 3 months, oh, I got the refusal. So, that's very well explained by you. Before jumping to Prasham and asking about the policy framework at UE, I would like to welcome our company managing director, Mr. Bhanur Singh Devi. He has been there in the discussion. He is silently watching and listening to all the pointers. So before I move ahead to Prasham, sir, thank you so much for joining us for this session and hearing out the pointers and the communication information shared by our panelists. So what would you like to share with our viewers and the students who are always eager to listen to you about the current scenario of Germany? What should, their aspirations, their dreams have taken a pause, but we are still trying our best to make sure that we help them out. And this is an activity done for the same only. So what would you like to share, sir?
First of all, thank you very, very much, guys. Thank you, all the representatives from various universities and colleges across Germany. Thank you for being a part of this wonderful panel discussion. I joined late, so apologies for that. I was in some other meeting and we just concluded that meeting, but I joined late. But I was, as Aman mentioned, that I was listening to the entire conversation. And believe me, the answers, the policies, the policy frameworks, all that have been told told very explicitly. So thank you for that. And last 1 year has been a roller coaster ride. We've seen times wherein things were opening up, and then all of a sudden started shutting down again. And that's what has been happening with Germany as well. We feel bad for undergraduate applicants, students who applied after class 12th. Embassies have not been processing their applications. I think I froze. Am I audible?
Yes, sir. We can hear you, sir. We can hear you.
All right. So we as an organization, we feel bad for students who applied after high school, especially all those undergraduate applicants. We haven't been hearing from the embassy for those students. The master level students did get appointments, did get visas. But then thank you for supporting all those students who could not start, who did not get their timely results, because at least they could continue with their online education that was really critical and very, very important. And all the universities and colleges across Germany did support our students in India, across India, by allowing them to study online and giving them a very flexible refund policy, which really boosted the market. Otherwise, the way things were going on, we would have witnessed a huge dip in interest for students aspiring to study in Germany. But with the flexible refund policies that you guys drafted with your management, with the leadership teams, that really helped that momentum to continue, that momentum to go on. So that was very, very important. But at the same time, I'm sorry if I've missed that initial conversation. What have you been hearing, guys? What do you think? When would they allow, the undergraduate applicants to apply, get appointments, apply for visas, and the ones who've already applied, when can we hear back for them? So
Gitanjali, if you can, please address this question for us.
Hi, Bhavnur.
hey,
We
Gitanjali, good
did
to see
start
you.
the conversation with the very same thing, and I did mention it that we are hopeful that things will get better by mid of June or maybe end of June, and UG students will also get the option of submitting their visa files. The thing is manpower. If a certain state or a city is under lockdown, even the embassy and the VFS office is under lockdown, and if they don't have people to process applications, obviously somebody or the other would get to see that, okay, not every file is accepted. And PG students were a priority for the embassy. They tried to work it out. They said that, okay, we'll give PhD students and PG students a priority. Let them submit their files first, and then we'll come to UG students. We do understand that, and even students have to understand that everybody is working with very limited human resource. Embassies here, VFS here, and even back in Germany is not functioning 100%, is not functioning with all people on board. People are trying to work from home, but um, cases where your documents have to be assessed, your things have to be verified and stuff, obviously somebody or the other would take that call that who is the priority, and the embassy decided that the PG students are a priority right now and UG students have to wait. It will change maybe in a month or two once everything is normal, once all the lockdowns are done, once everybody is back on job, things will be back on track. UG students will also see appointments. They did see appointments in January, February when things were normal, but then
But they
obviously
were
we saw the
very
second
few.
wave and things went back into lockdown, and embassy also had to take a step back. I hope by June mid, things are back to normal. People are back on their jobs. VFS, I hope they function at full capacity. And then obviously we will be able to submit UG files also.
No, thank you. And we are hoping that too, that situation would improve for the undergraduate students. I've still not been able to understand the logic behind giving priority to PG students. I don't know why this discrimination, on what basis. In fact, a UG is a much more committed student as compared to a PG, because he's going to be, maybe study that UG student would study 3 years undergraduate and maybe 2 years of masters or 1 year of masters. So commitment level at UG level is much higher, we believe, as compared to PG level. But I'm not too sure what does the actual data says. But that was very, very unfortunate. So this was one question that was time and again thrown at our organization, that why PG, why not us?
Yeah, true. The only logic I could understand from the German embassy's perspective was PG students are work ready. Once they finish their program, they'll be in the market working, and we
All
need
right,
people
job ready.
as workforce.
All
UG
right.
students will take 3 years to come as a workforce full time, but PG students would take just 6 months or 8 months, and they'll be working full time. And maybe German government right now needs more people in the workforce, and that's why they are a priority. So that was the only logic that came to my mind, that this is
All right.
what they're thinking.
All right. Yeah, that makes sense. That is for sure, that students at the postgraduate level can add value to the job market much more than a student at an undergraduate level. So if that's a logic, we are ready to buy it, especially when at our end, we have no other option than to buy it. But we feel bad for those students who've been waiting for almost a year now. And but we are very, very hopeful that things would improve the
Yes.
COVID situation is becoming better.
But I think
in India,
this 1.5 year has also acted as a good thing for UG students, because those who have started online classes, they have an idea of what to expect, and others are involved in learning German language. So it is going to help them once they are in classes, once they are in Germany, that understanding of the language is going to help them. It is going to give them more options. It is going to give them more jobs. It is going to help them in their career forward. So it was not a loss of time. It's just that, yes, they cannot be in a campus, they cannot study with people sitting around them, but the online classes and the option of learning language was still with them. And I hope all these students have used it.
no, that is true. So, are we providing any classes for German language, any free classes? So is that an access? I'm sorry, I'm not very hands-on to that information.
Yes,
So
yes.
forgive me for my asking this question, but how do we deal with that?
Yes, we do have free classes for all students who started their online classes, UG, PG both. So they have their free online German classes available. All that the student needs to do is log in and learn. That's it. And apart from that, there are so many free resources available on YouTube and on other academic platforms like Khan Academy, or even YouTube has free lessons. So students can log in anytime, start their classes, and use those resources.
Mhm. So this is for all those students who've started online education in Germany. There are free online German classes also being given by the various institutions. And then, as Gitanjali rightly mentioned, there are enough resources available on YouTube, on various platforms that you can definitely access to, because if you are in German, you should definitely know that language. English definitely would be your mode of communication within the school would be English, but then to get that access to the job market and to grow up the ladder in that job market, it's very, very important that you know the German language too, in case if you're planning to study in Germany. Yeah, well, that answers a lot of questions that we as an organization have, and Aman, you can continue. And once again, thank you guys for participating in today's panel discussions. It was wonderful listening to all of you and all the inputs that you've given, and all information pertaining to your refund policy, deferral policy, and students who could not lodge their files. That was very, very helpful. And we hope to see, some boost in the business for your various institutions in the upcoming months for sure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your inputs on the discussion. And like you just mentioned, we are really hopeful that by the middle of this year, things are going to get better when it comes to the education aspirants from India to Germany. As I was talking about the recent policies, so we were just left with UP. Prashantji, we have been talking about the policy framework at your university, and you have shared with us how convenient and supportive university had become for the students. And recently, one of a student was provided full year tuition fee refund after studying for over a year as an online classes student. So would you like to share the policies at the university as well, at your university as well? That would be great.
Yeah, that's right. Well, to be quite frank, we understand that many a times students do get a refusal. It's not like it's 100% guaranteed that you will get a visa. There are instances, 1 or 2 instances, wherein students do get refused. And when they get refused, what do they do? Especially when the students have started their classes online. So for students who started their classes online, for them, we do offer full refund upon visa refusal. There have been a couple of instances in the past 6 months wherein we had to refund. There was a student who had completed 6 months studies already. We refunded him, practically 1 whole semester. He even completed his exams. Frankly speaking, he could have just kept his credits and he could actually utilize it. But he said, like, no, it's absolutely fine. I don't require my credits. I need my money back. So with students who start their studies online, we give them 2 options. One option is either they can keep the credits for what they've achieved while studying with us in 1 semester or 2 semesters online, or they can request for a full refund. When they request for a full refund, there is a nominal fee applicable. For example, for students who've completed like at least 1 semester, there's a nominal fee of €250. wherein students who've completed, 2 semesters, that's roughly a year, for them, the fee would be up to 500 euros, while the rest will be refunded. However, they would not be able to use those credits that they've acquired while studying with us. But then again, if they want to keep those credits, then they will need to sacrifice on the refund. So this is always there, and this is an option that we give to the students. And as you mentioned, yeah, we did have a recent incident as well. The student was actually from Bangladesh. He had been studying with us since March last year, completely online, really good student. But then apparently it was something of bad luck for him. I would say it was a batch of 9 students from Bangladesh who applied for the visas together earlier this year in February. He was the only one who got refused. And it was quite unfortunate. And he then, when I gave him the option, he then chose for refund, and he went ahead, and we actually processed it. I just got the approval as well. So when it comes to refunds, yes, it is quite possible, as long as students get a refusal. When it comes to our cancellation policies as well, students can cancel at any point in time before the start of their intake. There is a nominal fee that they are subjected to pay. However, this nominal fee changes depending upon the student situations. We have students who defer twice and sometimes even thrice because of visa appointments. So in such situations, the fees have actually been reduced as well. Students can reach out to us. I believe, Aman, I've already shared the whole scenario in this with you. It's a long email. I know it's a long email, but obviously if I were to explain the email over here, it's going to take a lot more than 5 minutes. So to cut it short, yes, we have been introducing a lot of policies for students so that, it's a little friendly for them as well, so that they are not worried as well at the same time. Yes, online classes do play a vital role, and I agree with Suraj. We have live classes. The live classes trends in that we have, and the ones that students think in India are different. We have professors speaking live, and there's a conversation going on, not a recorded session. So things are different with us. So that's why we actually urge students to start their studies online and then travel at any given point in time once they receive their visas.
Right. Very well said, Prasham. And yes, you have been, discussing these cases with us on regular basis, and definitely the policy framework. Again, there's a common terminology being used by all of you, stating that it's a student-centric approach. When we talk about any policy that is offered by any of the university at Germany, it's a student-centric, it's a student-oriented policy, and that always helps out us as an agency also. I believe Gurpreet will also agree with me, to promote your institution, to promote your university. So guys, these were the questions that were brought into our notice by our sales heads, by our students, by our counselors. But I can also see a couple of questions in the chat section which have been sent across by the students, and I would just quickly jump into 3 questions that I can see are not yet discussed. So one of the very first question relates to BSBI. So Sanjeevji, if you can help us out with this. Student is planning to defer his intake and has applied at BSBI, is a bit concerned about the embassy being open and flights being open. So there's a myth about travel as well. We have already spoken about embassy appointments. So I would request if you can talk about the travel restrictions. Do we have travel restrictions from India to Germany, or students can still travel?
See, there are travel restrictions at the moment. In fact, there were travel restrictions, let's say, in the past also. But as per the bubble agreement that we have, Germany was basically one of the partners in the bubble agreement, so students were flying. It's, let's say, from the first week of May also, let's say, when the restrictions were put into place. However, we believe that it should be normalized maximum by mid of June, when we are expecting the embassies and VFS to resume as well.
Right. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Coming on to the question of the deferral, the student can very well just defer. All he needs to send is a consent letter or the mail basically to the concerned account manager, and the needful will be done.
Right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your input. And I hope the viewer who had asked this question has got the answer. If you still want to know anything else, you can always put your query in the chat section, and you can contact Pyramid E-Services. We can have your one-on-one interaction also done with Sanjeev ji. Next question is about PhD. So I think, Surajji, if you would like to take this one, a student is aspiring to study PhD, to pursue PhD in Germany. Is it a feasible option? Can we think of PhD in Germany?
I think BSBI offers a PhD program, Sanjeev ji, if I'm not wrong. So
we have a doctorate in business administration. I believe so. The gentleman who is asking wants to get into doctorate for physics.
Right,
Yes.
so that would be available at a public university, but the student will have to basically check which public universities are currently offering these PhDs in the subject of or topic of his choice. Physics is a very broad, what he's put in is a very broad area. So public universities get a lot of funding from the government, and a lot of PhDs are already ongoing. So he could join in one of them as a research assistant or a junior researcher and carry on from that. But this is something that will need to be discussed with the universities that are offering, or the universities that have the funding and are open to accepting his proposal. So that is something that he'll need to send to these universities and ask if they would be ready to fund his project.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So we can look for PhD as an opportunity, but it is majorly going to be with the public universities only. And definitely, if the student who is looking forward to that opportunity, you can speak to Pyramid E-Services. Our experts are available online and at few of our respective offices, which are open as per the guidelines given by the state government and the central government. So we'll definitely be happy to help you out. One last question is a bit of a tricky question, and if you feel convenient to answer this one, I would request the panelists, if anybody can, would like to answer this. What are the PR opportunities in Germany? So would you be happy to answer this, or would you like to give it a pass? Because I believe you do have certain restrictions to talk about these aspects. But if anybody is interested, I would be happy to welcome your pointers.
I'm happy to answer this. Not an issue. Yes, PR options are there. Now that depends on the student's status, what he's doing, how much he's earning, how long he has been in the country. And it takes basically anywhere between 2 years to 5 years to get a PR. The earliest option would be somebody who has learned German language up to B2 level, earns a good salary, about 50,000 euros an annum, and has been paying his social contributions, the health insurance and everything continuously without break, has been working without break. So that is the earliest that somebody can get a PR. And in case some of these conditions are not satisfied, let's say the salary is less than 50,000 euros, or let's say the student does not know the language, then it can take 3 years or up to 5 years to get a PR. But yes, it's definitely possible. But the student needs to make sure that he has been paying his social contributions regularly. If he wants to, let's say, be smart about it and not pay contributions or something like that, in that case, PR won't be available. Live there legally, pay your taxes legally, do everything legally, then yes, definitely within 2 to 5 years, you would be eligible for a PR. And in about 8 years' time, students would be eligible to apply for a citizenship as well. They do need to clear some tests, entrance tests there, but yes, it can be done, and students have been able to get a citizenship within 8 years.
Great. So there is an opportunity. If a student aspires to be a permanent resident in Germany from India, he can always acquire that opportunity. But like you said, there are certain steps to follow out, and there's a timeline of 2 to 5 years. One of the important aspects which we also, share with the student when this question comes across, that you need to be a taxpayer. You need to ensure that you come under that league of that country, that you give that return to them, and you become a not just a job aspirant, like we use the term job seekers visa, but you have a good job, and then you become a taxpayer, and you live like a valuable citizen for the country. On that note, I would like to thank all the panelists for the time given for today's session. We are on the verge of completion of our session. I would request our company managing director to share the share the parting words for the session and a thank you note for our panelists.
Yeah, sure. But before I do that, I know this session, we've been doing it from last an hour and a half. So thank you so very much for your time. But then I also have last couple of questions which were being thrown at us quite frequently. And so one of them was pertaining to the appointments. At the postgraduate level, the appointments have become still, very streamlined because the VFS has started contacting the embassy, but I'm not too sure how would it be at the undergraduate level. Would they follow the same, once they start doing it, would this follow the same pattern like they do it for the postgraduate level? Because previously we've seen some of the companies taking money from the students to get those appointments. So and that was very, very frustrating for organizations like us who do not involve or indulge into any such practices. So that situation was very, very difficult for us to handle, wherein a student used to come and say कि सर उस कंपनी ने तो हमसे 20-25 हजार लेके हमें अपॉइंटमेंट ले दी, आप क्यों नहीं कर पा रहे हो? बट हमें तो आज तक ये समझ ही नहीं आया. I don't, again, if you are not able to answer that question, as Aman said, that's fine. But then the reason I'm discussing that question to you is because you have an access to embassy. So that point has to be put forward to the embassy, because it was a complete mess, 100% mess, because students used to come to us and say that, we've paid a money to some XYZ consultant based out of Rudrapur, Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, Punjab, but आप नहीं कर पा रहे हो, पैसे लेके अपॉइंटमेंट नहीं दे पा रहे हो, why is it so? And we had absolutely no answers. And to our astonishments, certain students, despite of our efforts in getting those appointments directly for those students, did manage to get those appointments by paying some lot of money to those agents. So, I'm not too sure how did that happen, but in case if that practice was there, I think as an institution, we should definitely escalate that to the highest levels so that these kind of practices should not happen for a country like Germany, because then that spoils the entire image, and the education system also comes under a little scanner. So that's just a request that I have. I'm sure you would be aware of that. If not, then I thought of bringing this up to you. So let's ensure that going forward, if the process is not being streamlined, we at least go and escalate it so that the appointment systems become streamlined and efficient for our students. Any comments on that, guys, from any of the institutions?
Bhavnu, we are aware of this. As an institution, we know that there are people who are selling these appointments. There are students who are buying these appointments. And we also know that things happen. Not everybody follows rules. Not everybody goes by the book. So we do know things were happening. And as an institution, we have tried, and the embassy is aware. VFS office is aware. The embassy is aware. And if I'm not wrong, they are trying to put a new system in place. They are trying to put checks in place. And I hope once they're open again, mid of June or end of June, given the lockdown situation, I am hopeful of a new system. I'm hopeful that they're going to put a check in place, that nobody is misusing this scarcity of appointments to make money. So yes, it is there. We are aware, and the embassy is also aware that this is happening. And I hope this time, once the appointments open, something of this sort doesn't happen at all.
Wow, that's good to know. That's good to know, because we were, we had, so to actually fight with that situation, we had to put a team of 3 to 4 people dedicatedly 24/7 who were watching the site, trying to pick up an appointment, and still we could not do it. So I don't know कि वो agents ने कैसे वो appointments ली, कहाँ से ली, what magic wand they had कि जिसको घुमाते थे appointment मिल जाती थी और 25,000 ले लेते थे. We could not figure out or decode that problem, and we are still not able to figure out. So it's better that embassy figures it out. Yeah, VFS figures it out, because that was really like there was a time, guys, when I had my, leadership meeting, and everybody was coming back and saying appointment nahi mil rahi, bahar mil rahi hai sir, allow karo, bachon ko pay karne do. So there was a point I got so frustrated. I said, stop promoting Germany for some time because I can't deal with this situation. It is better that we don't promote a country. So I hope you understand when I say don't promote it, it would be a big thing. So it was that frustrating for us because we never wanted to get into that practice of asking a student or giving a lead to a student through which they can pay and get an appointment. But as an organization, it was very, very frustrating for us to actually deal with that crisis and situation. And for us, Germany was picking up very well. So if you probably would have seen our numbers that we were doing in the year 2019, 2020, mid 2020 as well, we were really putting a lot of focus on German institutions because the feedback from the student was absolutely wonderful. Students who joined classes, who were studying in person, who were doing job, part-time job, full-time job, they were all for the country, they were all for the institution. So we brought pretty aggressive marketing in for Germany. But I'm sure with this being streamlined, we would have no difficulties in promoting the institutions across Germany and the Germany as a study destination. So thank you for taking that question and answering to that, Gitanjali. And one more thing, guys, since your institutions have opened up, my humble request and submission would be if you can, do a little video of your campus, that you have opened up, and our Indian students are now studying in person in the class, or students across are studying in the class. If you can do a little, if you can do a video of your campus and some testimonials of students who've gone in the past, and what are their views about the country, the institution. So some testimonials and a video of your campus wherein students have started joining the classes in person, that would really help us to promote it on our social media. We have over 300,000 followers on Facebook, over 20,000 on Instagram, and a lot of followers on YouTube as well. So we would be able to promote each one of you across our social media platforms as well. So if you are able to give us those testimonials and videos, we will market your institution to the best of our abilities. Make sense? Wonderful. All right. So with that note, thank you so very much for participating in today's panel discussion. We are apologetic that it took much more than we thought of, but the information, the discussion, the panelists were all absolutely spot on with the information that we were hoping to get. So thank you once again very, very much. I hope you and your family members are all safe and healthy, and good luck, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you. So
Bhavnu.
thank you so much. Thank you
Aman.
so much, everybody, for joining for
Thank you so
this.
much for having us today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It was amazing. It was amazing to catch up.
Yeah. Thanks, Aman.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Aman.
Okay.